Welcome, everyone, to Running Maryland's The Runaround here on ESPN 1300 AM, the only show that keeps you up to date on what's going on in the wide world of track and field running and endurance athletics. As always, the show is brought to you by Hollabird Sports. If you're looking for the widest selection of running shoes and gear, check out Hollabird Sports online at hollabirdsports.com or visit their Baltimore showroom on Pulaski Highway. And be sure to visit us at runningmaryland.com where you can get your latest feed on all of the things going on in the local running scene. Or if you're interested in having your race managed by Running Maryland, check us out, runningmaryland.com. This is Greg Jubb in the booth with Brad Jager and Ryan McGrath. Today we will have our first segment of Around the Clock, presented by the Running Times, a monthly segment in which we will talk to Running Times senior editor Scott Douglas about the latest issues in our sport. But coming up very soon, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, is the Maryland State Track and Field Championships, an event that Brad knows all too well.
Oh, yeah. I'll be living at Morgan State University all day Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on top of the roof, filming every event down there. And I'll have a whole crew of people taking photos, and Greg will be there, and Lewis will be there doing interviews.
I will be there.
Thank you,
That's
Greg.
the most important thing.
Yes.
But that means that regionals happened this past weekend, which is basically the precursor. We get people qualified for the state meet. So we were all over the map covering the regional meets. Brad, what do you think of that?
It was, people are starting to step up their game. There was a lot of, regionals isn't the most competitive in most regions. You pretty much know who's going to be in the top four to go there. And all you really need to do is qualify by placing in the top four. 4A West might be a little bit harder to qualify in because of the amount of good Montgomery County teams down there. But people really stepped up to the game this weekend. At 4A West, Josh Trzeziak of Wooten ran a 4:20.6. You were there.
Yeah, I was there, and I texted you, Brad. I said, this kid is going to be good. He runs like a collegiate miler, and by that I mean they take it out, and I ran 4:20. They went out in about 2:15, 2:14. He was hanging in the middle of the pack, and then he starts pushing up towards the front of the pack, then takes the lead before a quarter to go and just takes off. So he split 2:15 for the first 800, comes back in 2:05 and just looks fresh, and came back and won the 800 too.
Yeah, I've seen him in a couple races so far this year, and he's run each one a little bit differently. You know, he's negative split, he's positive split, he's run hard the middle 800, and he just seems to be able to win no matter what races he does.
Now at States, I'm sure this will happen, but I'd love to see him run one where he goes out in like 2:08 or 2:07. See if we can run 4:15, 4:14, something like that.
Well, he's going to have some competition. Rami Phillips of Oxon Hill could give him some competition. He ran 1:55.3 this weekend down at the 4A South meet. Didn't have a lot of competition. He'll be back in that mile. I mean, he has some speed, and he also has the endurance. Another kid who broke 1:56 was Alex Warfield of Winters Mill. That was a surprising time to see him do that. I mean, I don't think he's been close anywhere this season. So those are the fastest two 800s in the state so far this year. David Winter over at Suitland, 21:48 out of in the 200. Beat a lot of good people down there in 4A South. Let's see what else. 800 relay, the Wise Boys with Champ Page, 1:26.53. Fastest time in the state by far, and I believe puts him in the top 7 in the country right now. There were 8 teams under 1:30 at regionals this past weekend. Perfect running weather for sprinters this weekend. A little warm, no wind.
Not too surprised by Wise, though. They were in the Championship of America 4x100 at Penn a couple weeks ago, so they've shown that they can run with the best of them.
Right. Also at 4A West, one of the big surprises was a 5:07.1 mile by Claire Sever of Walt Whitman, a 9th grader. And I follow track and field pretty much, and I haven't heard of her. So, you know, all for a sudden for her to come out of nowhere, looks like Steve Hayes down there is going to have some good talent coming back for cross-country season. The Wooten girls 1600 relay went 3:50.86. Let's see, Hannah Oneda of Winters Mill ran a 10:47 solo 3200.
Business as usual.
Yeah, I'd love to see her and Ellie Gonzalez of Catholic go head-to-head.
I would love to see that matchup, but who knows what's going to happen.
But I don't think it's going to happen, except for something we'll talk about at the end here. The Bowie girls, 47.7, 400 relay, and 1:39.8. Everybody thought it was going to be an incredibly fast 800 relay after they saw Northwest and Wooten go 1:40, but Bowie comes back and runs a 1:39.8. do a couple of field events. Tamara Ovajera of Thomas Johnson, 144.1 in the discus. Julius Coyner of Linganore, 6'7" in the high jump. Terrence Stafford of Thomas Johnson, 23.6. Jonathan Hatcher of North Carolina, 14.6. I'm going to throw out one more at you quick. Quincy Sutton of Linganore, 168.4 in the discus. So that's probably the best times that we've seen and distances all season. Now, all these teams are running great. All these individuals are running great. It'd be great to see the private schools and the public schools all get together in one big gigantic meet at the end of the season.
And how does that happen?
Well, it could be because it could happen at the Jack Griffin Mid-Atlantic Classic at North Hagerstown, June 1st through 3rd. You can sign up on our site for that event, and Wayne Krutzer has put together a great event out there, really goes out of his way to try to make it an all-state, all-comers meet for some of the best athletes. If you really want to see where you step up against Quincy Jones, Cyrus Jones, or Mike Wegner, that's the place to go see there. Wegner ran 15:17 as an 8th grader last year. He's back in the 5,000. So Greg keeps giving me to move along.
No, I have something I want to say. Our neighbors to the north do it.
Right.
No, you're from Jersey.
I'm from Jersey.
Ryan's from Jersey. He knows they have a little thing called the Meet of Champions.
It's on a Wednesday afternoon in June.
Yeah, and it's a culture up there, and it has to become a culture here that the State Meet of Champions is what you aim for. Now, it doesn't stop on May 26th. It goes one more week.
And let's face it, New Jersey track and field is a little bit more talented than what we see here in Maryland, and it's a smaller state. And
now,
like you said, it's the culture.
Word is that Running Maryland might be moving this meet to Howard Community College next June, and we're going to be trying to make it a pro-am meet. So maybe moving a little bit more.
The Jack Griffin?
The Jack Griffin meet. We might be calling it something else at that point, but they'll still be involved with us. But we're going to try to make it a pro-am meet and bring some big names in there.
Some sponsors behind it, turn it into a real festival.
So we've got a whole year to make this happen. So let's get some people there.
Let's get it done.
Good time, but Jack Griffin meet, June 1st through 3rd at North Hagerstown High School. Sign up now.
Check it out. It's going to be a big 10K there, too, an event you don't see very often locally.
And that's open. That's an open 10K.
Open meet. And they're apparently pulling some ringers in, too, as well. So some people, some fast Kenyans in that race. Speaking of fast people, though, USA Track and Field Occidental High Performance Meet, also known as the Oxy Meet. I know Ryan and I were talking about this earlier today. Like, what a meet, by the way. I was not really too familiar with that meet until this year. We talked to Nick Simmons 2 weeks ago, and he said he was going to be at this meet, and he said it was going to be a lot of top performances, but it truly was something else. I'm going to start with the 1500 here. Mo Farah, Galen Rupp, and Robbie Andrews all go 3:34. We're talking about like a 3:51 mile here, but it's the names that you're seeing here. Mo Farah and Galen Rupp are 5K, 10K guys.
Yeah.
That's incredible speed.
I mean, if you look at the list of people that they beat, it's pretty incredible. And, those are 5K, 10K guys. And, you just mentioned Nick Simmons. Of course, Nick Simmons was on the show a week or two ago. He ran a 2-second lifetime 1500 PR. He wasn't in the same heat as those guys, but he ran a 3:36.04.
Just missed going 3:35. He's close to the A standard for the 1500 for the Olympics, and that's 3:35.5. And he's by trade an 800 meter runner. So stepping up to that distance, it's very impressive. In that heat as well was Nate Brandon, who took the win. He did not run the A standard. He ran 3:35.8. But really, I mean, another name I want to mention here, I said earlier, Robbie Andrews, just like Nick Simmons, an 800 meter guy, but frankly, I always thought he was a miler, given the strength that he had. He ran cross-country for University of Virginia. He could still run decent cross-country times. I think it's a matter of time before he turns into a miler, even because he has the most frightening kick of any athlete I've ever seen, other than Bernard Lagat, maybe, in his prime. Something else.
Makes almost as good a face as Lagat in his final kick. Oh, man.
It's too funny. You ever see that picture of Lagat and Mo Farah at the end of the 5K last year? That still shot? Unbelievable. I mean, it looks like they're smiling, but they're in intense pain. Going into the third section, the 1500, Jamal Arras of France. This guy, I'm telling you, he's going to be a favorite going into the Olympics, 3:34.8. He's already run a 3:52 mile in the indoor season. And 5K, Mo Farah comes back 90 minutes, hour and a half after running a 3:34 1500 and goes ahead and runs 13:12 in the 5K. That's the most impressive double I've seen this year. We mentioned Alan Webb, who did that... it was 3:38
and I think 13:49.
13:49. So now we're talking 3:34.
And now, in fairness, that was a 25-minute gap between races. This was 90 minutes, but you're not going to compare Mo Farah to Alan Webb right now. Mo Farah, really just looks to be on his game, and of course, 13:12 is what he ran. And at the 5,000 meters at the Samsung Diamond League meet over in Shanghai, those guys only ran 13:11. Much different race, but 13:12 after a
just shows he has the
34.
strength. It shows he has a lot of strength, so that's going to pay off for the 10K. And I'm assuming he's going to make Britain's team. That's going to be no question.
Oh.
Last year's world champion in the 5K, second place in the 10K. He's got what it takes. Also, we're going to take some callers. If you're interested in winning a $25 gift certificate to Halliburton Sports on Pulaski Highway, if you need a new pair of shoes or some gear, give us a call. We'll take our 10th caller today. 410-481-1300. So give us a call. $25 gift certificate to Halliburton Sports. We're going to continue with this meet at Oxy. 3,000 meter steeplechase. Don Cabral of Princeton. 8:19 setting the collegiate American record in that race. And he wouldn't have won that race had Evan Jaeger not taken a little face plant. He tried to hurdle the last water pit, which is impressive. That's tough. I mean, the standard move is to get your front foot up on the hurdle and then propel yourself over the water pit. But he said he wanted to go over the whole thing, which is kind of a strange move in my mind, considering how tired you are at the end of a race.
Little risky at the end there, but the top four guys really outdistanced the rest of the field. One of them being Dan Hewling. You would have to say that those four guys really would be the class of steeplechasing right now in America, and for Cabral, a great and well-earned record.
Absolutely.
There's a great video of Cabral's face plant online.
Well,
it's gotten like 400...
Evan Jaeger's face plant.
Oh, that's right.
I don't think you want to say Evan Jaeger, so people don't confuse it as like a family member of yours here. No relation.
400 million hits it's gotten already.
Oh, it actually looks pretty painful, but he still comes back and runs 8:20. Gets the Olympic A standard, so he gets his job done. Considering the Olympics coming up this year. Another interesting point that I want to make: the 800. We're talking about depth. And Mo Farah running that 1,500 5K double. Lopez Lamong, he got third in his section in the 800. He ran 146.2, but he's run 13:11 in the 5K this year in a race in which he kind of miscounted the laps.
Right.
He's got some range.
And there were a lot of athletes not doing their normal events. Obviously, some of the 1,500 meter women running the 800 running the 15. So it was just a meet like that, and they always say, and especially in a championship year like this, you've got the Olympics coming up, you have to race different distances.
You need to break things up, not to get too stale at one distance. Training's also changing a little bit at this point, where they are concentrating a little bit more on speed work and less on conditioning, and the base time is all gone. So now they want to try some of those shorter events and test out their speed. So I think that's what a lot of these athletes are doing.
For example, a Runaround alum, Jenny Simpson, who was on the show a couple months ago, she ran the 800. She ran a 2:03, which is, I'm sure, she wanted something a little bit better than that. And not to be confused, there was also a Gemma Simpson in that heat as well. I kind of got lost in the results there, but she ran 2:01 at that meet last year. But nonetheless, she's focusing on the 1,500. Shrug it off. Wait till the next one. The 1,500 though was interesting. One person got the Olympic A standard.
I think, yeah.
That was Shannon Roberry, barely breaking 4:06, which is the A standard, and that was a nice little victory for her. She's going to be.
Well, it was weird too because it looked like they broke the heats up so that they were evenly split for competitiveness, I guess, and just weird to me to not have Shannon Roberry and Morgan Usini in the same heat. If that's. I guess that was by design, but it just seems weird. If you're
I thought the
for
heats were a little strange myself.
Yeah.
I heard that they also tried to split up the heats accordingly so you can spread out the competition, but the times don't really suggest that if you look at it the way I see it.
Yeah.
Then again, who can you predict?
Race is a race.
Going to run?
Yeah.
Right. Well, Nick Simmons was in the second heat of the 1,500, he ran 3:36. Why weren't you in there with the fastest guys?
And if you follow Nick Simmons at Nick Simmons on Twitter, did not seem like he was too pleased about that either, as he called out the meat people.
Yeah. Well, then again, he may be trying to pull that double. Who knows if he's trying to go an 800, 1,500 meter double for the Olympic trials? It's possible.
Anything.
Don't want to say it.
Yeah.
There was an interview with him that he was possibly contemplating that move. So
anyway, we got a lot coming up. We're going to kickstart our first segment of Around the Clock with Running Times senior editor Scott Douglas. We're going to be casting our predictions for the distance events at this summer's Olympic trials and the Olympic marathon in the London Games. Don't miss it. All that and more coming up.